The Holy Quran taught us that looking forward to blessings and happiness in both lives is one of the greatest remembrances of God. The first thought that should come to your mind in the morning, praise and thank God for His blessings. Our defeats come from within us, we are the ones who make them, and nothing else. The knowledge we use is the only knowledge that sticks in our minds. Worrying doesn't change anything, but trusting God changes everything. I still affirm that the hard work is to change the people. As for changing the government, it happens automatically when the people want it. As life is a test, let us devote our efforts to succeed in it. Ambushing the crime while making it public is worse than committing the crime itself. As long as God knows your intention, do not care about their bad faith. Do not let the clouds of the past cover the sun of the present. What is the value of a person, being drawn by his thoughts and feelings to an event that has been over time, to make his pain more intense, and his heart stinging? The hardships of life are in line with the aspirations of men, high and low. When a person stands in the framework of his weakness in front of the Almighty and the kingdom, he returns full of hands with goodness. A person's behavior is the most indicative of his policy. You meet people for the first time, and you feel love or hate, and you do not know the reason for that. It is nothing but a secret that God installed in the soul of man. How beautiful to give when you know that the return is not from people, but from the Lord of people. Do not live far from God and seek happiness. We were created preachers, not judges. Muslims abandoned the Quran for hadiths, then abandoned hadiths to the sayings of the imams, then abandoned the sayings of the imams to the style of imitators, then abandoned the style of thinkers and their rigidity to the ignorant and their confusion. Be fully confident that the hand extended to God is never empty. Honor is a right that is matched by duty, and it is not justified for a person to claim his right until he fulfills his duty. Ignorance of the truth leads to a great loss in its loss, and most people leave mistakes easy because they do not know what is right. What is the basis of our victory over defeating others and waiting for help from the vague unseen? Poverty is a ridiculous virtue that only a silly man calls for. Be content with your day, and hope for what will please you in your tomorrow. I have seen in my experiences that the difference between the religiosity of the form and the religiosity of the subject is the hardness or tenderness of the heart. One of the greatest gifts God has given to man is that he be endowed with insight that recognizes what is right and denies what is wrong. A person's honor is not based on the extent of his dominance on earth, but on the extent of the development of his supreme talents and sublime faculties. Good intentions do not intercede in responding to those who have desires. A person who lives in truth does not trade in falsehoods, he is rich in them. By God, I am not afraid of crusader pressure or communist pressure, but I am afraid of Islamic heedlessness. People are afraid of poverty in poverty, and from fear of humiliation in humiliation. Cursing and curing do not solve a problem. Glory, success, and production remain delicious dreams in the souls of their owners, and they do not turn into living realities, unless the workers breathed into them of their soul, and connected them with the sense and movement in the world. Urging hardships when their time has not come is a great foolishness. Language was not invented to express the soul, but to hide what is in the soul, and camouflage on people, so that they do not realize the reality of what is in the soul. Wealth is not a sign of honor except in societies of eating, and a heart full of nobility is more honorable than a shoe stuffed with gold. If people are not united by truth, falsehood will divide them. If our hands could extend to the past to catch its planned events, change from them what you hate, and transform them into what you like, then going back to the past would be obligatory, and we would all rush to erase what we regretted doing, and double what we had of it. There is neither the greatest betrayal nor the worst consequence from a man who took charge of people's affairs and slept about them until he lost them. To rest your mind and heart, make sure that there is no good in something that God took from you. Loving the Salaf is a religion, and hating them is hypocrisy. The edifice of Islam was built on heavy sacrifices made by brave families, advising their men and women with truth and patience. The decline of the Islamic nation in recent times is due to the shameful inability of women to understand true Islam. Do not attach the construction of your life to a wish that the unseen gives birth to, for this delay will not bring you good. Your best intention, may God improve your condition, and wish good for others, good will come to you. The first features of the Muslim community were honesty of speech, accuracy of performance, and accuracy of speech. What is the value of the entire human history if it were not for those who struggle to be happy and toil to rest and die in order to live? No value at all. This transgression of God's limits causes misfortune to his companions in this world, just as it will cause them misery in the hereafter. False titles do not replace the unpleasant facts. Negativity does not create heroism, because heroism is a vast giving and more severe suffering. Rather, the subjects were corrupted by the corruption of kings, and the kings were corrupted by the corruption of scholars, and had it not been for bad judges and bad scholars, the corruption of kings would have decreased for fear of being denied. Your life is made of your thoughts. A person's happiness, misery, anxiety, or peace stems from himself alone. My respect for you does not mean at all that I accept everything you say, and my faulting for a person does not mean that I am better than him. The masculinity of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was at the top, but his spiritual strength and psychological purity made this masculinity increase with the praises of literature, integrity and contentment. The life of gentleness and softness kills talents, and destroys the faculties. And the truth of the one who said, people are two men, a man who slept in the light, and a man who woke up in the dark. Whoever is not privileged with a great deed, his predecessors did not benefit him, even if they were the kings of the afterlife. The refusal of Islam at this hour is suicide and the path of destruction. Rather, it is the apple of the eye of colonialism. What is small and sufficient is better than that which is abundant and distracting. Sharia and construction is the sister of faith in the foundation, and with Sharia and faith together, we walk and reject any distortion. What is the value of prayer fasting that does not teach a person the cleanliness of conscience and limbs? The person has a choice in what he knows, and he is guided by what he does not know. That is, he increases in freedom as he increases in knowledge. The nature of evil is the violence of the source and the loneliness of the path. Yes, there is no Islam where the statutes are denied, the laws die, whims prevail, and the guidance of heaven is lost. The truth is that Islam does not blame freedom of thought, but rather blames negligence and astonishment. And where can people distinguish truth from falsehood? In an atmosphere of pure freedom from the impurities of pressure, cruelty, and tyranny. Procrastination is a trick of the helpless self and the alacrity rule. The Messiah, peace be upon him, passed by a people and they said to him evil, and he said to them good, and it was said to him, they say evil, and you say to them good. He said, Everyone spends from what he has. There is a critical hour in which falsehood reaches the height of its strength and truth reaches its utmost ordeal, and constancy in this severe hour is the turning point. The person who adheres to a belief, who is loyal to it, does not care that you defeat his belief at his own hands, or at the hands of someone else. Fear of God is an emotion that indicates honor of the soul, alertness of the senses, and possession of the reins during critical times. The Honorable Hadiths, after examining their chain of transmission, need a jurist who places them within the general framework of pure Islam. And the work of Satan is to bury the past with wailing and mourning, and it is what he casts in the soul of sorrow and despair over what is past. Absolute freedom does not stem except from the proper servitude to God alone. I do not fear for the person who thinks, even if he goes astray, because he will return to the truth, but I fear for the person who does not think, even if he is guided, because he will be like a straw in the wind. Do you know how one's life is stolen from him? He neglects his day in anticipation of his tomorrow, and he will remain so until his term expires, and his hand is empty of any good. Humans will not find someone more righteous or kind to them than God Almighty. Mercy is not a color of occasional pity, rather it is a source of permanent tenderness, the gentleness of morals, and honorable conduct. Pain, weakness, and sadness are temporary feelings, with forgiveness that cross through the gate of our souls and go on. There is a difference between two feelings. The feeling of jealousy for the sanctities of God and the desire to protect them, and the feeling of hatred for God's servants, and the desire to humiliate them. Troubles and pains are the soil in which the seeds of masculinity sprout, and the talents of the greats only blossom amidst the ashes of hardships and efforts. Faith requires that a person knows for himself the limits at which he stands, and the milestones he ends with. The great hope always comes true when the owners of principles cling to the truth, patience, and struggle. True religion is an operation of man's lofty talents, so that suspicion and illusion are eliminated from his life, and certainty remains alone. Individual judgment, like a jealous woman, does not stand to see the great, and does not weigh the fates of scholars. Impossible to meet two things: love comfort and love glory, obedience to oneself and obedience to God. Faith is an enchanting force that, if it is able to penetrate the heart's reefs and penetrate its depths, makes the impossible possible. We are not entrusted with transmitting the traditions of Abs and Thebian to America and Australia. We are entrusted with the transmission of Islam only. The message of Islam is that I do not bend my forehead, nor my cross, nor my conscience, except for God alone. I know men with the truth, but I do not know the truth with men. Humanity is a man-made coin whose value does not go down, and no one is despised by it. He has a healthy heart and a sound mind. What is the most despicable pleasure that comes from neglecting sacred rites, or neglecting major duties? Give the alternative, if you want to change a wrong situation. The person has a choice in what he knows, and he is guided by what he does not know, that is, he increases in freedom as he increases in knowledge. I may be unable to bear the burden that is required to be carried, so I say, I seek the help of God, perhaps he will provide me with strength from him that I can succeed with. It is not a man's arrogance that bestows upon him the bounty of piety, nor does the softness of a woman deprive her of a portion of benevolence. Woe to a nation led by fools, and those who were able to be disgraced. Charity to the poor is an easy offering at all times, so whoever desires favor with God and with his messenger, let him give alms, for this is a wide field for reward.
Which quote did you like the most? Share your opinion in the comment. One day you will regret that you did not hear this quote earlier. Don't lose the opportunity. Watch our next video.